Welcome everyone to another edition of The Score. Wiley Baker with you here. As a reminder, The Score is a sports show here on AACPS TV and the Anne Arundel County YouTube channel, where our Athletes in Action show focuses on a specific team at an Anne Arundel County public school. The Score zeroes in on an essential individual in the life of Anne Arundel County Public Schools athletics. And today we certainly have one such individual. I'd like to introduce the all-everything public address announcer for Anne Arundel County Public Schools and the state of Maryland. A hearty welcome to Mr. Al Smith. How you doing there, sir?
I'm doing very good, Wiley. Pleasure to be here.
Well, we thank you so much. And I guess I need to open up. I've known you for a long time, but tell everybody a little bit about yourself. Were you an athlete as a youngster? What sports did you play? Tell us a little bit about Al Smith.
Well, I started out playing Little League Baseball up in Steelton, Pennsylvania, just south of Harrisburg. And when I got in high school, I started playing football, basketball, and baseball, and I was a pretty good baseball pitcher. I had a perfect game in high school and 3 other no-hitters throughout. And I've been a sports announcer for 45 years since Old Mill High School opened up. I've been doing their football games. I've missed 5 games in 45 years.
That's pretty good for a 49-year-old. Very good. Tell us, what's your history as a teacher or a coach? Have you been a teacher or a coach?
I was never a teacher or coach. When I got out of high school, I went into the Navy. I got a tremendous education there, went into air traffic control, and I came out of the Navy, and that provided me a job for the rest of life. For the last 35 years as a supervisor at Baltimore Washington International Airport. A lot of great memories doing that.
Well, I need to shake your hand again. Thank you so much for your service. We certainly appreciate that. Tell us a little bit about you being in the Navy.
Well, I got out of high school, and unfortunately I was tired of school, and I knew I had to go into service sooner or later, so I decided to go and enlist in the Navy. And I took all kinds of tests, and air traffic control sounded interesting. And I was at the Great Lakes for basic training. I went to Norfolk and Olathe, Kansas for school, then a year on Midway Island, which I want to go see the movie tomorrow, Midway. And then I finished up at Lakehurst, New Jersey, and got discharged there in September of '64.
Very good. My goodness. Now, when did you say to yourself, after all of that, when did you say to yourself, Al Smith, I want to be a sports announcer?
I really never said that to myself, Wiley. Something that just happened to come upon me when Old Mill High School opened up. Jim Dillon asked, the athletic director then, asked if I would like to do the football games. I said, I will give it a try. So 45 years later, I'm still trying to do football games at Old Mill, and it's been a very interesting and enjoyable experience.
And for those of you who haven't heard Al do his public address announcing, when you're in or around the Old Mill community, you can hear Mr. Al's voice all over the communities. He does a tremendous job. Everyone in Anne Arundel County Athletics knows you as the Old Mill Patriots football public address announcer. So I think people want to know a little bit more about you. We've learned about the Navy. Oh, where did you start your announcing? Was it at Old Mill or was it somewhere else?
I started at Old Mill High School, and when it opened up, and from football, Ron Evans, who's the football and track coach, asked, would you like to come down and help out with track? I said, Ron, I don't know that much about track. He said, come on down and I will teach you. So I started track, and a couple years later I started doing announcing for the wrestling tournaments. And it just has expanded now. I mean, the amount of track meets I do about 60 track meets a year between indoor and outdoor track meets for all Anne Arundel County, Howard, PG, Montgomery County, Southern Maryland, private schools, just about anything.
Wow. Where it is, Mr. Al will go. That's right. My goodness. Well, then I need to ask you, what are your favorite sports to announce? Can you weed them out? What your favorite might be?
I would have to say football and track, particularly track when it comes down to the championship times. And you have all the best athletes there competing, and it's really very interesting. And last year, I finally got my wife to come to the final day of the track and field outdoors to see what it's really like, because it's a busy day. When I start talking 11 o'clock in the morning, I start then and don't finish till 6:30 at night. And there isn't any 3,200 meter run or 3,200 meter relay, and all the schools in the state are there. So it's a very busy and hectic day.
Now I'm even going to ask you a harder question here, Mr. Al. And again, I'm here with Al Smith. He is the all-everything public address announcer for Anne Arundel County Public Schools, the state of Maryland, and beyond. And Mr. Al, Do you have any favorite sports announcing moments? What maybe one or two that stick in your mind?
I'd have to say announcing would be when Matt Centowitz set the state record in the 1,600-meter run. He went on to win the gold medal in the 1,500-meter at the Olympics down in Rio, and that was one of the best things. Now, I've seen sports and events where I haven't announced, but I've been there, and one of those would have to be the 2009 regional championship in football when Old Mill beat Arundel 58-55 in double overtime. Their quarterback threw for over 400 yards, and our tailback rushed for over 400. And the 2011 when we beat Quince Orchard 36-35 in overtime at M&T Bank Stadium for the state championship, an undefeated season.
Those were something, weren't they? Two amazing events for sure. And we know you bleed red, white, and blue, though you love everybody throughout the county and the state. Talk a little bit about that. I know you bleed Old Mill, but you really love every student athlete.
I'm an Old Mill person, but when I'm announcing, I am not a homer. I try to credit anybody. If somebody sets a state record, or I announce that, or a county record, they had 100 wins in wrestling, whatever the case may be, I announce that because I think they deserve the credit also. It's just one thing to be a homer, but I just don't believe in that. Anybody who's participating in the sports deserves credit if they do something special.
Again, here with Al Smith. He is the public address announcer extraordinaire here for Anne Arundel County Public Schools and the state of Maryland. And Mr. Al, we have talked a lot about your accomplishments. I know you've told me that there are a lot of folks who have been instrumental to your successes. If you could elaborate on that, and I definitely want you to bring up something special about you and your wife, and then also if you could elaborate about the 4 athletic directors at Old Mill, including Jim Dillon, Bruce Lawton, Craig White, who I know you're very close with as well, and now Jeff Martin.
Well, first person would have to be my wife, Maria. November 14th, tomorrow, we will celebrate 55 years of marriage.
Wow.
And she has been there for me, supported me in everything I do. And just when I had 3 hip replacements, she was there, my nursemaid, taking care of everything. Last summer, I had open heart surgery, and she was there. Everything I needed, took care of me completely, made sure everything was fine with me. But it's just been an unbelievable support from her and encouraged me to do what I want to do, and just great. And our 4 athletic directors at Old Mill, it's been a pleasure working with all 4 of them, from Jim Dillon to Bruce Lawton to Craig White and now Jeff Martin. They've been very easy to work with. Anytime I need something, I always have it available. And they've just been 4 great people. And I'm very happy to have worked with all 4 of them.
So the Mount Rushmore of the upper echelon folks at Old Mill High School would have to be the late Jim Dillon, because he has the gymnasium named after him. Bruce Lawton, who has the field house down by the stadium named after him. Craig White, who has the gym floor named after him. And Mr. Al Smith, who has the press box named after him. What was it like when you had the press box named after you?
It was a tremendous honor to have something like that happen to a person. You never go into announcing or anything else looking for glory or anything. The main thing is to try to do a good job and have people respect you. And it just, I was astonished to have that honor rested upon me, to become a Al Smith press box, Mr. Al, voice of the Patriots. It's something I never thought of when I started, but I'm very proud of it.
Not only that, but you are in the Old Mill High School Athletic Hall of Fame. So a double-decker, what was it like when you were in the Hall of Fame? Were you in, and I guess you were actually inducted into the Old Mill High School Athletic Hall of Fame first, and then the press box was dedicated when the new press box was built. Talk about the Hall of Fame.
The Hall of Fame, I've been involved at Old Mill since it started. I was in the Booster Club for 25 years, 12 years as the president. And Jim Dillon said that I would be inducted into the Hall of Fame there in 1992, I believe it was. And it was another great honor to be inducted in the High School Hall of Fame, because to be in the Hall of Fame, you have to have special credentials to be in the Hall of Fame. And I thought it was a blessing and a pleasure to be inducted into the High School Hall of Fame.
Well, you certainly well deserve that. What has made you, over the years, Mr. Al, the most proud of our student athletes in Anne Arundel County? And I know you have seen, you mentioned Matt Centrowitz at Broadneck High School. You've mentioned some of the Old Mill High School teams that have made you the proudest. What are some of the things that have made you the most proud of our student athletes?
Unfortunately, our student athletes do not get a lot of credit. Most of the time, it's the people that are in trouble. But our student athletes, they have to learn to regulate their time. They have to keep their grades up. They have to learn to work as a team. And in athletics, you learn lessons that will carry you throughout your lifetime. And unfortunately, our student athletes do not get the credit. If you look at the honor roll, how many of these athletes are on the honor roll? Several years ago, at Serena Park cross country team, all 7 members of the girls team were on the superintendent's honor roll.
Wow.
Which is almost a perfect score. And it's just, the kids deserve a lot of credit for the things they do in not only sports, but throughout the communities.
What would you say to a student athlete? Now, you are one of my heroes, and why I wanted to get into sportscasting as well, as an alum of Old Mill High School, and I had my career start with Carol Thornburg in television production class in 1984-85. What would you suggest to someone who wants to get into the field of sports announcing or sports broadcasting?
Well, one thing you need to do, you have a good knowledge of what you're participating in. Whatever you're going to announce, if you're going to announce football, you need to know a little bit about football. If you're going to announce basketball, whatever the case may be, you need to have a good knowledge of what it is so you don't embarrass yourself by doing things. And I just think that some training, even maybe some voice things. For my job as an air traffic controller, you learn how to speak clearly and modify everything that needs to be said.
Very good. Well, as we talk just a little bit more about you being a fan, I know you love getting out to the games that you don't announce. Expand a little bit on that, because I know you love announcing, but you mentioned just a little bit about getting out as a fan. Expand a little on that.
I try to get to different games all year, whether it's field hockey, it's track. If I'm doing track, I'm doing announcement, but lacrosse, soccer, whatever the case, I always try to get out there a couple games a year and see how the other kids are doing. And it's enjoyable. I'm a sports nut. My wife and I went to a hockey game on our first date, so she knew what she was getting into. But it's been enjoyable.
Oh, very good. Well, we're going to round things up with Mr. Al's words of wisdom. As you leave us, what would you say as encouragement to our student athletes and coaches to continue doing the great job that they're doing in Anne Arundel County Public Schools?
I'll never say you can't do something or it can't be done. You have to work at it, and it's not always going to be easy. And sometimes you're going to feel like, why am I doing this? But never quit when you're doing something. Do it, give your best. That's all anybody can ask for you. Do your best. Always try to do the best and encourage other teammates to do their best, and try listening to what the coaches are telling you. They're telling you for a reason, because they worry about you, they care about you.
Well, we care about you, and we care about all the great things that you have done here in our area throughout the state of Maryland. Again, with Mr. Al Smith of Old Mill High School's public address announcing for many, many years, and also doing just substantial announcing for the state of Maryland and MPSSAA. Mr. Al, thank you so much.
Thank
what
you,
an
Wiley.
honor and a pleasure, and keep doing such a great job.
I will still be doing it as long as I can.
Well, thank you so much. Again, Mr. Al Smith is here with us today. What a wonderful honor and pleasure it is to have him. He has been doing such great announcing, and you will recognize his voice if you haven't heard him announce. Get out to an Old Mill football game and for sure hear Mr. Al. As always, in honor and memory of my mom, Dee Baker, I'm Wiley Baker. I'll talk to you on the court, on the field, or on the air, and with another edition of The Score, right here on the Anne Arundel County Public Schools television network and YouTube channel.